Welcome to Excel webinar. I think this is our session 4. Sure, what is the number? I'm pretty sure you must have gotten the agenda already. So today we are going to talk about data filters, data sorting, pure tables, and a bunch of shortcut keys. And I'll get you introduced to uh, charts in Excel. So that's the agenda for today. So there's not much of formulas that we'll be doing or going through today. It's rather we'll just use the available the features and then see how we can use that for our day-to-day work. So without further ado, Mahesh, I'm not yet shared my screen, so I'm going to share my screen. Could one of you confirm if you're able to see my screen? Maybe a thumbs up. Okay. All right. Sure then. So the first thing that we have today is filters, right? Filters. I think we all see filter as a smaller concept, right? It is just about applying a filter, but what can be done using filter? So that's something which we have to which we have to understand, and that's what we're going to learn today. Okay. So to begin with, there are multiple ways there are multiple ways to apply a filter. Okay. One, just follow along. If you have some data set with you, just follow along, because these are few things that does not require a lot of formula writing logic. I mean, formula writing knowledge rather. It is just that you see and then apply it in your work, right? Okay, like I was saying, there are multiple ways of applying filter. One, obviously using the ribbon over here. uh, so under home we have something called sort and filter. So if we select this, there's something called filter over here. Okay, so this is one way of applying a filter. Okay, let's remove this. Okay, there's one more place where you can apply filters. If you go to data, I was in the home ribbon, or I was in the home tab rather. Let's go to the data tab, and there's something called filter over here too. Okay, so if you select this, filter gets applied directly. Okay, and where can we apply the filter? It might not, it may not always be the row first row of first row of the Excel, or first row of the sheet. It could be somewhere in the middle. If you want to say, suppose if your selection is A9, and then if you try applying a filter, then it obviously goes to the original cell. That's the first cell, and then then applies the filter. Rather, what you can do is, if you're trying to apply a filter in between an Excel sheet, so you can select the whole row, right, like this. You can select the whole row. So there are different ways of selecting a whole row. So if you hover your cursor on the cell reference and then select, it selects everything and then apply a filter, then it gets applied in the middle as well. So you don't have to you don't have filters are not only for the first row. It can be applied anywhere in the Excel sheet, and the filter values that you get will be from the selection that will be from the place where you made the selection from. Say, if I've made selection from here, the values beneath this, if I made a selection at 9 A9, right? So the values beneath this would be my values. Okay, so those are two ways of applying a filter using the home tab and the data tab. And there's two more ways, right? The and the most, I think those are the most easy ones and most fancy looking ones. One is, do a control shift L. Okay, I'm repeating myself again. Control shift L. So control shift L. So you have to press them at the same time. Okay, and if you see over here, a filter is already applied. Okay, that's another way. Okay, and the final way, I think I know only four, four ways of applying a filter. If there's one, you can drop a message in the chat. So the other one is Alt DFF. Okay, you don't have to press all at the same time. You can type Alt first and then D and then FF. All right. I hope you guys were able to follow it along. So I'm going to repeat myself again. Alt DFF, Alt BFF. Okay. And to remove the filter, you have to, you can follow this, you can follow the same, same commands. It could be Alt FF, or it could be Control Shift L, or it could be, it could be one of these options from, this option from Home tab or the Data tab. Okay. So that's how we basically apply a filter. Okay, and we see multiple options under here, right? There's sort by color, there's text filters and all that stuff, right? So what we can do is, let's understand this, what these things do. So we have a section for sort today, so I'll keep that for, for later. Okay. Before that, let me color a few things over here. So it might so happen that, you're working in an Excel sheet and you find few things that are, that are incorrect, and you highlight them in a separate color. So you just, you don't have to, you don't have to search for those values. You can use filters, and then sort them by, or filter them by the color that you've used. Okay. um so again, to open the pane, to open the filter pane over here, you can select the arrow over here. Okay, that's one way. So the arrow. If not, you can do Alt and the down arrow. Okay, so the first way is clicking on this arrow. If not, if you don't want to use, if you don't want to use mouse, if you just want to use the keyboard, or the keypad, then just use Alt and then down arrow. Okay, so there are two things over here. One, text by color, filter by color. Other one is text filters. Okay, so filter by color, again, like I was mentioning, if you have identified a discrepancy, or if you identified something, something odd in the Excel sheet that you are working with, you might end up highlighting those. So instead of finding those rows all over again, all you can do is, you can just go here and then use this option called filter by color, and then select the color that you had selected, and then, it gives only the ones that we want. Okay, and the number of colors could be many, right? You can, you can basically apply different colors for different reasons. So it gives you, all those colors that you've applied. So filter by color. So earlier we were getting only yellow, now we are getting this, you know uh, green shade, I guess. Yeah, green shade. If you select this, you get only whatever that was, highlighted in the color green. Okay, and there's something called text filters over here. Okay, so there are different things. One, equals, does not equal, begins with, ends with, contains, does not contain, and custom filter. Okay, so equals could be, say suppose anything that in here, everything should match. Okay, say suppose, if you have written your name, it should match apples to apples. If not, you're not going, if not, you're not going to get this. Say suppose I want to see I want to see I want to see a row where the name is Anaya Ray. Okay, there are two things. Again, this and or, you know so and again, so if you've written and, then both the conditions have to match. If you have written an or, then, if either of it matches, it gives you the data. Say suppose, let's use or for this example, or statement. Okay, say if it's, Asia Steel. Okay, click OK, and then if you see over here, let me remove this. If you see over here, so it has given us the ones that we wanted. Okay, I mean, you could argue that you can go into you can go in this list and select the ones that you want, right? That's there's no denying that. Say suppose if you have if you have 1,000 names or 1,000 values, then it becomes literally difficult to select one value out of those, right? So this is what you can do. And this there's one more thing that there are a few more options that we see in the text filter. This does not equal. Say suppose I don't want I want anything that does not say Anaya race name, right? So if I do this, I'm getting a message. Thanks, Omkar. So if we do this does not equal now, and I want everything but not Anaya race row. Okay, I do this. If you see over here, there was Anaya over here. Now Anaya's name is not there. Okay, and the next one is begins with, say what would be good example. So say suppose if you have if you have if you have some student records in which, say if you have students from the commerce batch, and if all of their if all of their student ID starts with com, so you don't have to select 1,000 1,000 student IDs. What you can do is you can just write anything that starts with com, give me that. Say suppose now if I want to say I just write give me anything that start with as. Okay, what I've done is I've used begins with over here, and I've used as my value. And these are the two things. I did not have to write the whole name. All I did was okay, this is this is the starting names, or this is the starting letters. Give me that. So Excel understands, or the filter function in Excel understands that and gives you the required info. Okay. um and the next option that we have is does not ends with, rather, right? So if we want, uh say you might have a list of student names in which you're trying to identify, you're trying to identify a student using the last name. Okay, so you can use this. You can basically use the whole name, or just one letter. Okay, now I want to see the names which are ending with y. Okay, so all I do is I just type y, and then so I've used my command as ends with, and I've used y over here and clicked OK. So if you see over here, all my names are ending with y. Okay, so that's another command in filter, and we have a couple more. So we have contains. So equals and does not equal, basically it's apples to apple match, right? It has to be the same value in the cell, otherwise it wouldn't work. And uh, the begins with and the ends with is sort of like you have to mention the right the right value or the right letters to get the required information, right? But contains works a notch ahead than those two. I mean, contains might not be the right, it might not give you the exact match, but it gets the it gets the work done. So say in here, if I have begins with and I have ends with, and if I want to see if there is mech in the middle, right? What I can do is I can use contains and just type in mech, or one of the last names over here. Okay, so it is neither looking at the at the last letters, not looking at the beginning letters, or it is also not running the equals command. It's just looking at whether it contains those two letters or not. Okay, so I'll just click OK, and I have so many names under here which starts with mech. I can do it other way not also. Okay, does not contain mech. Okay, I had this many names that were that did not have mech in their names. Okay, and how do we clear this? Simple. You can use one of the keyboard shortcuts that I just told, Control Shift L or Alt DFF. If not, you can use you can use it from the home tab or the data tab. If not, the simplest thing is to open the pane and then clear the filter over here, clear filter from names. So then it does the thing. So and the usage of filters is not only limited for text. You can also do it for you can also do it for the numbers over here. So the number filters, again, there are many over here, right? There are different things, equals, does not equal. So we've done the names, and I think you can apply the similar logic, because if we do this, we'll definitely run out of time. Maybe I can pick a couple over here, maybe greater than equal to or less than equal to, and then we'll move on to the next one that we have for today. Okay, so in here I want anybody who scored more than 200 marks. Okay, so it's as simple as typing a number and then getting the data. And if I want anything that's greater than equal to, so here what it does is it's 200 or more. Earlier it was more than 200, now it is 200 or more. Again, nobody has got 200 exactly. Then you get the gist, right? Then the last, let's look at two more, and then I think less than equal to applies the same logic. Let's look at between. So there's greater than equal to, less than equal to, whenever it comes to between. Okay, you can also use equals. We might not know the exact numbers, so let's use greater than equal to. Okay, give me a, basically I am asking Excel to give, show me all the students who've scored more than 250 and less than 220. Okay, so between is always a two valued, two valued condition. Okay, so let's click OK. So if you see over here, all these marks are more than 150 and less than 220, and that's the logic that we had used. And how do we clear this? You can use Alt DFF, Control Shift L, or you can use either one of these filters from the tabs. If not, the simplest thing to do is open the pane and then just clear the filters from total marks. All right, so that's about filters. I mean, there are different ways to use filters. uh, there's, again, there's number filters and text filters. So we've looked at both. um layer and the next thing that we have for today is sorting. Okay, so sort is, again, we don't have to talk more about sorts, right? Sort, I mean, you don't need an introduction about sort. Sort is basically arranging things on a on a requested type, rather, right? So again, sorting can be done in two different things. One by the text, the other by the numbers. When it comes to text, it's either A to Z or Z to A. When it comes to numbers, it's largest to smallest or smallest to largest. I think these are the two things that you can use. Okay, uh, again, one thing that we know is, where on all we can apply sort is one over here, uh, wherein you can just select. So you can select just sort A to Z or sort Z to A, and there's custom sort over here. Okay, so, and also, when you apply a filter, you also get the option to sort from here also, sort from A to Z and sort from Z to A. And when you get to the number values, you get the sort smallest to largest, and sort largest to smallest. Okay, um, so these are the two options that you get. But then let's make things complicated. I think that's what we do in Excel, right? So let's look at, so when you do a sorting, before we go to the next stage, when we do the sorting, it always looks at the first, it always looks at the selected, or the first, first column. Say if we've selected city, and if I apply the sort over here, so it looks at the first, I mean, it looks at the selected cell and then does the sorting. If you remember, the values were where the values were scattered, Bangalore, Mysore, Delhi. Now let's say, we use the sort option, you know, it did it by, by city. So it is always the selected cell that drives the whole thing. And there might be things where you want to, where you want to or there might be occasions where you want to, sort it by multiple values. So that's where we want to complicate things, and then we want to solve it, right? So let's pick, say suppose, I want this sheet to be sorted by names and their cities. Okay, so all I have to do is go to sort, click on custom sort. Okay, there are different levels over here. So I'll select names, and then I'll sort it by A to Z, and then I can add another level where I pick city, and then I would also, you know sort it by A to Z. So the first value would be names, and then say, if you select everything by A, A would come in the next, I mean, come in the first cells, and it'll look at the city values and does the sorting. Okay, so let's see, let's click on this and see what it does. So if you see over here, it looked at anybody's name that started with A. So this was our first logic, or this was our first sorting condition. Okay, and then I mean, it just does not look at one thing. So if you remember, our school attendance, they look at everything. So AN comes first, and then AR comes. So that's why, you see, you might argue that, okay, there's this A and this, uh, technically Delhi should come first, but then AN comes before AR. So that's how things work in Excel. So it looks at the whole thing, and then does the sorting. Okay, I mean, it's a little confused. It's a simple concept, but it gets confusing, when you try to, apply multiple sorting conditions. But then the only thing to understand over here is, say suppose, if you pick this example over here, right? Everything is starting from KA. Okay, and then it is used BM as a sorting order, which is A to Z. Okay, so basically it looks at the whole value, just not the first letter, before sorting it out. Okay, and also let's apply sorting on the numbers. um, Say I want, you know again, the simplest thing to do is, since we are applying sorting on only one particular column, we can just go here and click on largest to smallest. Okay, so if you see over here, everything is sorted. Okay, sorted by largest to smallest. And if we do the other way around, smallest to largest, it does that as well. When you do that, I think the other sort goes over here. I think it gets, you know it does not stay there, because Excel can remember only the most recent sorting. Okay, if you remember, we had done a sorting on alphabets over here, and then we did a sorting on the numbers. So it forgot, or it deleted the sorting that we did on the names and the city, and just remembered the total marks, which was the most recent one. Okay, so that's about sorting. Okay, let's look at pivot tables now, which is I think, uh, the most, I think, yeah, you could call it, one of the most, important concepts in Excel. Okay, what pivot does. Okay, pivot is sort of a summary kind of representation of your data set. Okay, uh, so you have 100 lines of information, and if you want to shorten it down to maybe a 5 line or a 10 line summary, that's when pivot comes into, pivot table comes into your aid. Okay, again, how do we apply filters? You just have to go to insert, and then click on pivot table, and then you can either select existing worksheet or click on a new worksheet. It's always advised to create a new worksheet when you're starting it, and then you can use existing worksheet if there's already something existing. So we'll look at both. Okay, so let's click on new worksheet. So that's one way. Okay, so what I did was I went in here, then selected the whole thing. Even if you don't select whole thing, I think it still works. Okay, I went in here, just clicked on pivot table, and if you see over here, the table range is something that you have to be very mindful about, because this sort of decides your base data. So even if you deselect like 3 or 4 lines, your end summary will not be correct. Okay, uh, so we've selected a a1q26, which is our data set. Okay, uh, and if you click OK, it creates a new sheet. Okay, so that's another way. I mean, that's one way. And the other way is through the shortcuts. Okay, uh, just hear me out. Alt N V, enter. Okay, I hope you heard me. Alt N V, enter. Okay, basically double enter. Let me redo that again. Alt N V, double enter. Okay, that gave us this. There's also one more way. Okay, where Excel kind of tells you, I think this was not there earlier, I don't remember seeing it in the earlier versions of Excel, where it gives you the recommended pivot tables. I think that there's an AI that runs behind and understands the data set that you have, and gives you a recommended table, recommended pivot table all by itself. If you click on this, this is what it does. So it gives you a couple of examples. Average percentage, count of names, some of you know some of all the marks that are there, and average. I think this is the one that we've selected, so you can select and the value comes over here. Okay, and if you want a blank pivot table, you don't have to go back. Okay, there are different things over here. If you're not looking for either one of these, you can just select blank pivot table, and it creates a new one altogether. Okay, so that's how we create a pivot table. And basically, let's understand what these means and how do we get some information. So let's do this. So we want to see in each city how many people have passed and how many people have failed, and what is the percentage and all that stuff. Okay, so let's create something like that. Okay, so, and again, before we start the pivot table, let's understand what are the things that are available over here. One, we have all the column names. Okay, and uh, please keep in mind that a blank is always counted as one in pivot table. Say suppose if you have 1,000 rows, and if you have 90 blank values in here, that is equal to 1. Okay, so please bear in mind, when you're counting something, please make sure that you pull a value that has some value in it. Okay, uh, say, so like I said, like I was saying, these are the columns. And we also have a search bar over here, just in case there could be an Excel data set that has more than 100 or 200 columns. So in that case, it becomes a little difficult to identify, or basically search different column names and use it for pure tables. So in that case, you can just type the names, the name of the column, and then search it from here itself. Okay, so we have less columns. I think we have only around, what we have around 14 or 15, maybe 16 column names. So let's not bother about the search option at all. Okay, so like I was saying, I want a summary of the pass fail percentage of by cities. Okay, so we could do that, but we want to, before doing that, let's understand these four columns, these four blocks over here, or these four spaces over here. Okay, filter, like the name itself, it says, it's a filter. It's something that drives everything. Okay, And this is not a mandatory thing. Okay, filter is not mandatory at all. Okay, uh, but we'll apply filter and show you how that works out. Okay, column is anything that comes horizontally. Okay, and rows is something anything that comes vertically, and values the number behind your value. Okay, or so now that we want to now that we want to look at the number of people that have passed or failed, right? So we could probably use name as name as the value, right? So let's use let's create one of these. Okay, so there's city, and I want to see the pass fail percentage. Mm, so there's passed in the exam. So basically, based on the request that you've got, look at look at your data set and identify the columns that you want to use. So I want to see how many people have passed the exams. So I want to I'm going to use pass the exam as columns over here. Okay, um, and like I was saying, so I have blank rows over here. Okay, if I use blank rows in the values, it is not going to give me anything because there's no number in it. Okay, rather if you use you know passed or failed in here, did come passed in the exam. So we had 25 students, out of which 18 have failed, only 7 have passed. Okay, and in Bangalore all of them have failed. I mean, these are fictitious numbers. Please don't take this seriously. um, if we were to do it on if you were to do it on the sheet, all we had to do, okay, let's go to Bangalore and then look at the failed people and take the number down and all that stuff. So now, but with pure table, you can do that in just you can do all this in a click of a button. Okay, so we've used columns, we've used values, and we've used rows. Okay, now I want to see only how many people from the first year have passed in this. Okay, so let me select one. So I've selected only one, which is first PUC. Then if you remember, it was earlier 25, now it is 15. Okay, you don't have to apply multiple filters to get these numbers. If you were to get this from this data set, you have to apply multiple filters, one on the city, one on the class, and the other on the the other on the past exam column. You don't have to do all the stuff. You can just create a simple pure table, and then you know and then create a create a summary version in just click of a button. Okay, so now I have numbers. Can I convert this into percentage? you know in a perfect world, what I would do, I would divide 2 by 7, 5 by 7 to get the numbers. Okay, let me get rid of the class so that we get more numbers. If you were to say out of 10 people, 9 of them have failed, which is 90%, right? So we can say it. I mean, when you have a larger data set, it is not something that can be easily done. So converting this into numbers, or converting these into percentage, is also simple. Okay, so just right click and this show values over here. Okay, so let's use parent row total. Sorry, um, should be parent column total or a percentage of row total. Okay, Yeah, if you remember, there were 9 people who had failed, so 90%, and 10% have the, how of them have passed. And can you do sorting from here? Yes, you can. Wherever you see this icon, it is an indication that it's a filter, and we can also do a sorting from here. Okay. Now it's fail and pass, which is A to Z, and if I want to do Z to A, no, now the orders have been, now the order is changed. And if you want to, now if you look at it, it's A to Z again. If you want to change this into Z to A, it changes. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, and again, you can you can basically use this, how, in different ways, right? We've taken one value. Can you take multiple values? You can definitely do that. Okay, so say suppose, we have one more over here. Okay, say suppose I want to see total of all marks by city again. Okay, so I'll go here and then pull, physics into values. So in Bangalore, out of the 7 students that we've had, out of, all of them have taken in total 212 marks. Okay, can I pull more values in here? I definitely can. Okay, maths. Okay, you can. I don't know, what is the maximum values that you can pull over here, but then as much as I've tried, this has come up. Okay, uh, so now again, if you want to do this, as as a on the data set, you have to apply a filter on Bangalore and then see what is the total for physics and all that stuff. So you don't have to do that anymore. With pure table, you can create all this stuff by yourself. Okay, and if I want to break this down by class, one, I can definitely add a filter, right? You can add a filter and select only one of these two classes, right? If not, if I want to view this on a same screen, what I can do is I can just pull class over here, and what it would do is, so for people from the second PUC or the 12th, so this is the marks for them. Okay, and for people, is it a filter? Yes, this is a filter. And for guys who are from 11th, so this is their marks. Okay, and where do you find the total? You find the totals over here. Okay, and this is so dynamic that you can change things from here, and then still be able to, your total also matches as per that. Okay, so it is as good as, creating a table with, with a lot of formulas in it. But in the actual scenario, you wouldn't have applied any formulas. It is just a pure table that is running the show for you. Okay, so let's look at one more example, and then close pure table for the day. So now I want to see, now we basically looked at, summing up things, and counting things, right? Let's look a similar example. Now I want to see, how many students were there in each cities. Okay, so all I have to do is pull a city in rows. Okay, and just select names and then pull them under values. Okay, and say suppose if I uh, if I delete a couple of names over here, and then just refresh this. So it is not counting the blanks. If you remember, it is not counting the blank at all. So that's how it is. Okay, either it gets counted as one, if at all, if you have pulled that as a, pull that as a, a row label over here, or a column label. If you are using that as a value, it does not get counted at all. Okay. uh, and there are a few more things, I think final few things in pivot tables. Can you hide a pivot table field? Yes. So if you don't want anybody else to pull different values in here and screw up whatever summary that you've created, you can just you can just close this from here. Okay. It does, it when somebody opens this, it will not be available for their view. And they can also easily make this enabled board, enable them, enable this for themselves. um, all that I have to do is, they can right click on this, or you can right click on this and select on show field list. Okay, that's all it is. And there are different options that you see over here. There is obviously copy, format cells, sort, filter, which we just spoke about. Expand, collapse. I don't think expand collapse applies for this, because there's no other value in here. Okay, say, you select under city, you have names. Okay, you can also add multiple attributes under rows. Now it is, expanded. If I want to collapse, if it is, yeah, it is expanded. If I want to collapse this, or if I want to view the upmost thing, I'll just click on collapse, and all the names are gone. It just gives me the topmost row. And if I want to do this again, I can click on plus. Okay, if not, I can just click on expand entire field, and it expands everything. Okay. Yeah, it's something that, that you learn over a period of time. It is not like, you would learn it in a day or two. As and when you use, pure tables, try different things. Try going through all this, all these options, and see, what each of this does. Okay. And again, what you can do in terms of numbers is not just sum. There is also something called, value field settings over here. Okay, wherein you can select different things. One, we've used sum because it was a number. You can also count. You can average it out. You can see the maximum number. You can see a product. You can see a minimum product. I don't think we use all this daily, or very often. I think the ones that we very very oftenly use is sum, count, average, max, and min. I don't think, at least I've not used the remaining ones. Okay. And the other things about copy pasting stuff, that remains the same over here as well. You can use a format painter. You can copy this to a different table altogether. So there are different things that you can do from Excel, I mean, from Pure, that is available in Excel. Okay, I think we've spoken so much about Pure table now. Um, so we have one more topic to cover. And I think, for the shortcuts, I'm going to share all the shortcuts with you. It does not make sense for me to show all the shortcuts and how to use it. you know it it it's it basically does not make sense, right? So, like, I'll just share those with you. Okay. So like I said, that's it for pure tables. And the next thing that we had today was charts. Okay. Most of us, and I think, most of us have, one of the other BI tools in the company that we work for, or in the institution that we are a part of. But there could be companies, or there could be schools or colleges or institutions where they do not spend much on creating a BI platform for them. Okay. uh, in such case, what you can do is, you can create different charts in Excel, and then um, dashboards. Or you can create charts in here and use them in PPTs, or in the Word documents that you create, in multiple places, basically. Okay. Today we're not going to look at all the charts. Let's create one basic, and then probably, if the time allows in the future, we'll look at the remaining ones and understand, which can be the best ones. Okay. um so let's remove these names. Okay. Uh, so where do we go to charts? I think Alt F11 does it. Alt F11 or Alt F10, I've forgotten that. But the simplest thing to do is go to Insert. Okay, there's something called charts over here. Okay, a total option charts. Okay, if to expand this, you can select this, the down arrow. It opens a different window, pop-up window, and gives you the different charts, charts that are available. I think there are new charts that are available now. Earlier when I started working on Excel, I think there were about 10 or 12, or maybe, yeah, maybe it's, somewhere around that number. Definitely Sunburst was not there, DreamHack was not there, and Combo is something that was recently added, Box and Whisker. So I think you have everything that is available in Power BI over here. So you can basically use all of this and create different things according to your need. Okay. um, Again, like how we had in pivot table, it also has recommended charts. So based on your data set, say suppose this is my data set, let's not touch the pivot table, and we'll use, say, paste it as a different table, and we'll remove grand total. Okay, so only this is my data set now. Okay, these three columns. Okay, I'll go to insert and then click on recommended charts. What it does is, like how it happened in pure tables, right? It gives me a chart. It gives me something that can be readily used, right? We don't have to worry about, okay, which chart to use, which chart not to use, and all that stuff. It gives me whole list of recommendations from Excel itself. So I think that there's an AI that runs behind. Okay, and it gives us all this. Okay, so these are the different things that are available. uh, you know this is a clustered column chart, and this is a stack column is basically everything gets turned into 100%, and then the data gets divided there. And this is a scattered chart. I don't think scattered chart is something that we want to use over here. And there's again this clustered bar. The first one was clustered column, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, clustered column. There's clustered bar, and there is stacked bar chart. Okay, and this is 100% stack column, and there's funnel. So yeah, one thing that we need to understand is what chart to use when. So if you're able to read a chart without much help, then that is something that is suitable. Okay, I think this is the logic that I've applied all my life. If it can be interpreted by me, as a layman, then it can be interpreted by someone else. So that's something that I've kept as a theory all this while. I think that has worked out really well for me. So if I use a funnel chart, definitely it is something that is not easily legible for me. I don't know what is the 66%, 10%. What are these representing? I don't know what. I don't know. The data behind it. So what I would do is I would pick something really simple and try to work out with that. Okay, let's pick clustered column now. Okay. Um, so this is how cluster column comes. Okay. And if you want to see how random it is, say if I delete this over here from the data set, you will see a bar going off from here. Okay, and if you want to reselect, say suppose if you have selected an extra layer, which is which is bringing a blank value. Okay, go to select data, and then just select the right data that you want. I didn't want to select grand total, but I selected. Now I don't want grand total because it's not a city. So I'll just select the cities and then click OK. So now I have only Bangalore, Delhi, Mysore, and pass or fail. So now is it easily readable for me? Is it easily readable for you? Yes, it is. So it gives the names over here, the city names, and it also gives a legend that represents the number behind it. Okay, it is 120%. Can we change it to 100%? We definitely can. Okay, all we have to do is go to plot area, and then one plus. Yeah, if I go here, then these were text options. Yeah, now, yeah, so under the chart options, vertical value. Yeah, in here, if you select this, there should be, yeah, in here. Sorry, it took long to search this. I don't use Excel for dashboarding. So sorry about that. So if I just select 10 over here, 1.0, then it changes from 120 to 100. Again, 10 minutes are not enough to to talk about Excel. I mean, to talk about charts. I just wanted to introduce you guys to charts, and then take this on a different session. Okay, so what can be done over here? There are multiple things. There are different chart elements. You can add access title. You can delete something called access over here. Can we add a data label? Yes, we can. Can we add a data table? Yes, we can. Error bars, if there is one. I don't think there's any error bar. Can you add a trend line? Yes, you can. So you can add different things. Okay, we'll look at this in the coming sessions. But then, like I was saying, I just wanted you guys to introduce you to the charts, and then take this on a different day. And there was one more thing that I had planned for today, to talk about the you know the to talk about the shortcuts. Like I was saying, it does not make sense for me to talk about this. Instead, I would just share this in the chat, so that you can keep this for your reference, you know and then use it whenever it is required. um, I think I've exceeded the limit over here. I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to cover today. And like I mentioned, I've also shared the common shortcuts. Let's look at the questions if there's any. I think if names equals, then it is only sorted based on city. Could you can try along Alt DFF, Alt AT. Yeah, thank you to the chat preview. I don't think we have a lot of questions today. Hope you enjoyed today's session. Like I mentioned, I've just gotten you guys introduced to charts. So in the coming session, we'll look at all the charts, and how do we probably create a dashboard out of it and all the stuff. But is anybody able to copy? I'm not sure if you'd be able to copy this, but then you should be by selecting all this. Okay. Uh, but yeah, Balram we've covered. We look up and look up in the previous sessions. You can probably look out for the videos. Um, so with that being said, let's meet for the not able to copy. That's bad. Yeah, let me speak to the guys and see if we can send that out to you guys. Then so this is what I had today. It was lovely training you all. So until next time, have a good time. See you all. Bye bye.